MTF Zeta-9 short explained a Mobile Task Force, or MTF, is basically the SCP Foundation's Special Ops Squad, the people they send in when things are way too weird for normal security. And MTF Zeta-9, aka Mole Rats, is the team that gets all the underground, claustrophobic, reality-breaking dungeon levels of the SCP universe. If there's a cursed tunnel, a non-Euclidean basement, or a staircase that suddenly decides it has 10,000 extra floors, Zeta-9 is the one going in first. Think of them as a mix between spelunkers, SWAT, and that one friend who always says, "Yo, let's check out this creepy abandoned building," but actually knows what they're doing. These guys are built for the dark. They train to move through spaces where GPS doesn't work, compasses spin like fidget spinners, and the map is basically lying to your face. Imagine trying to navigate the back rooms, but with anomalies that can bend space, loop corridors, or turn a straight hallway into a Mobius strip. That's a normal Tuesday for Zeta-9. They use experimental gear, reality-stabilizing tech, heavy-duty hazmat suits, and enough sensors to make a NASA engineer sweat. Even then, their missions are insanely high risk. They're respected, but also kind of treated like legends and urban myths by other Foundation staff. So if the SCP Foundation had a special team for places no normal person would ever enter, it would be MTF Zeta-9. They're the ones diving into the literal and metaphorical dark, so the rest of the world can sleep upstairs and pretend the basement is totally normal. MTF Epsilon 11, also known as Nine-Tailed Fox, is the SCP Foundation's elite emergency squad. They show up only when a site is in full disaster mode and the monsters are already loose. If normal guards are basically spamming the panic button, Epsilon 11 is the team that answers it. Imagine a huge facility with red lights flashing and alarms looping nonstop. A cell breaks, an SCP walks out, and regular security is already overwhelmed. That's when Epsilon 11 rolls in like a high-level squad that actually knows what the mission is. They move as one armor set, weapons up, checking corners, calling positions, and pushing toward the trouble instead of away from it, while everyone else is running. Epsilon 11 is going room by room, shutting blast doors, guiding staff to safe zones, and forcing escaped SCPs back toward containment chambers that look like boss arenas. They're basically the Foundation's Control plus Z button the squad sent in to undo chaos and drag the site back to normal. 1 hour, the place feels like a cursed maze full of screaming. A few hours after Nine-Tailed Fox arrives, the site is stable again. Lights steady, staff breathing. For most Foundation personnel, seeing Epsilon 11 feels like rescue mode turning on. When they show up, the disaster is still bad, but now there's finally a chance that we won't end the world. MTF Mu-13, also known as Ghostbusters, is the SCP Foundation's special team for ghosts, spirits, and invisible things that still manage to throw furniture across the room. They're basically the serious, tactical version of the Ghostbusters movie squad. Most MTF units deal with monsters you can actually see. Mu-13 fights things like lights switching off by themselves, doors slamming with no one near them, wet footprints on clean floors, and voices that only appear when you replay the audio. It feels like phasmophobia in real life, just without the option to quit the lobby. Normal guards bring guns. Mu-13 brings gear that looks stolen from a sci-fi prop room. Their suits carry cameras, sensors, and metal boxes full of cables and blinking buttons. One member walks down a hallway with a handheld scanner that beeps faster when something invisible gets close. Another drops a case that snaps open like an old-school ghost trap. Others draw bright symbols on walls, turning a normal office into a discount magic dungeon. A typical mission starts with mapping cold spots, moving objects, and rooms that make people dizzy. Then they track the source, maybe a single room, a cursed object, or the place someone died. Once they find it, they trap the spirit, anchor it to something safe, or force it out of the building. Because of Mu-13, the weirdness stops and the site can function again. They handle the haunting so everyone else can get back to work. AMTF Nu-7, also called Hammer Down, is the SCP Foundation's Big Panic Button Squad. If other mobile task forces are repair crews for one broken room, Nu-7 is what you call when the whole building is shaking. They don't sneak around or study the problem. They roll in fast, hit hard, protect as many people as possible, and take a huge area back for the Foundation. Their arrival is pure main character energy. Heavy trucks and troop carriers pull up like tour buses. Squads in thick armor step out in tight lines, moving with the same calm confidence as a pro esports team walking on stage. You can spot New 7 by the organized chaos around them, frontline squads pushing forward, support staff pulling others back, nobody running in circles like confused NPCs. Inside the squad, roles are simple. Frontline members are the tank mains, standing in front so the worst hits land on them. Medics are the supports, dragging injured people into safer spots and keeping them in the fight. Engineers drop quick barriers and checkpoints so there are clear safe zones instead of one big panic blob, while command staff act as shot callers, watching screens so the whole team moves like one brain. So while other MTFs feel like side missions, AMTF New 7 is the big raid party the Foundation calls when all the small teams have already tried and someone finally has to say, "Bring in the heavy squad and end this." And MTF Alpha 9, also called Last Hope, is the SCP Foundation's SCPs on Our Side squad. It's the team where trained agents and a few trusted SCPs work together instead of being kept completely separate. Most mobile task forces are regular special forces units, all human, all gear, all stress. Alpha 9 is closer to a small, controlled, superpowered lineup. The Foundation selects a short list of humanoid SCPs that can follow rules and pairs them with human operators. That's why Alpha 9 missions feel different right away. A normal teammate carries a rifle and armor. Right beside them, Kane SCP-073 walks through attacks that would knock out anyone else and reflects the damage back at the attacker. In the same squad, Iris SCP-105 uses her camera like a live window into another room, letting the team see and interact with places they haven't reached yet. From the outside, it looks like a tactical squad, but there's always at least one member who clearly doesn't play by human limits. The idea is powerful but risky. The Foundation tried something similar before with MTF Omega-7, and it went badly. So Alpha 9 is the safer remake. The SCPs picked are calmer and more stable, and the team works under tight monitoring and multiple backup plans. In simple terms, MTF Alpha 9 is the Foundation's weird hero party humans and SCPs in the same squad, used for missions where a normal team would fall apart, and you need a lineup with abilities no regular operator could bring. MTF Omega-12, also called Achilles' Heels, is the SCP Foundation's reality bender squad. It's made of trained operators working alongside a few controlled reality benders. Together, they go after people who can twist reality far more dangerously. A normal mobile task force uses gear you can carry: guns, armor, radios. Omega-12 brings the same equipment, but some of its members treat the world like it has extra hidden buttons. One bender slows a bullet until it crawls like a video, lagging to 1 frame per second. Another stretches a stairwell so enemies run far longer than expected and reach the top already worn out. An Omega-12 mission looks like a regular firefight, running quiet map hacks in the background. The team takes cover behind cars and walls, but a concrete pillar shifts just enough to block an explosion. A locked metal door goes soft like thick rubber for 3 seconds so the squad can walk through. A rooftop jump that should break a leg briefly feels like low gravity, letting them land safely. Because of these tricks, Omega-12 has strict rules. Giving people small, real-life glitches is like handing friends a mod menu. So every reality bender is watched closely and given a clear do not touch list. In simple terms, MTF Omega-12 is the Foundation's legal hack squad, called when a hostile reality bender turns the battlefield into a cursed game level, and someone needs to make the map behave long enough for everyone else to survive. MTF Omega-0 is the SCP Foundation's ghost task force that lives inside the Foundation's computer network and fights information-based threats. Its members used to be real staff agents, researchers, and technicians. When they died, copies of their minds were saved as data. Now they move through servers instead of hallways, racing along cables and camera feeds while a living guard walks down a corridor. One Omega-0 member can check cameras, door systems, and files across multiple sites at the same time. Their job is to protect the Foundation from threats that hide in screens and text cursed documents that change anyone who reads them, fake profiles that rewrite ID records, and strange phrases that spread through emails and influence staff behavior. Omega-0 patrols the network like a mix of antivirus, moderator team, and very tired sysadmin who just happens to be dead. You can imagine them as bright threads moving through the network. A researcher opens a file that shouldn't exist. The text glitches, then resets to something safe because Omega-0 patched it. A suspicious login pops up from a device destroyed years ago. Omega-0 cuts the connection before it spreads anything harmful. Most staff never see Omega-0 directly. They only notice files that fix themselves, accounts that suddenly get locked, and small notes saying an incident was contained, in a darkly funny way. Omega Zero is the Foundation's afterlife IT department. People who kept working so long that even death just moved them from the office to the server room. MTF Omega 1, also called Law's Left Hand, is the SCP Foundation's internal hit squad for ethics and control. They're the team you send when the threat isn't a creature in a cell, but a monster in human form inside the organization. Most mobile task forces chase escaped anomalies. Omega 1 hunts problems inside the Foundation, corrupt directors, rogue researchers, staff hiding cult ties, or anyone in power who decides the rules don't apply to them. If the ethics committee says this is not okay, Omega 1 is the group that actually goes out and fixes the problem. On the surface, they look like any tactical unit armor. Rifles, helmets, calm formation. The difference is where they work. One day, they're sitting silently in the back of a meeting room. The next day, that same site director is being let out in handcuffs while Omega 1 locks down the office and collects hard drives and hidden documents. Their work is basically the Foundation's serious version of a banhammer. When someone at the top starts abusing authority using SCPs recklessly, cutting deals, or treating people like expendable test items, Omega 1 steps in, freezes accounts, seizes weapons, and removes them from the board, sometimes permanently. In simple terms, MTF Omega 1 is the Foundation's final line of internal discipline, a silent, loyal squad that keeps the most powerful people in check so the entire system doesn't rot from the inside out. MTF Tau 5, also called Samsara, is the SCP Foundation's special task force made of 4 cloned operators who can be rebuilt after they die. They are the squad the Foundation refuses to let stay dead as long as the mission is still a mess. All 4 came from the same original person, so they work together naturally, like a tight friend group. Their names are Irantu, Nanku, Chelub, and Ro. Before a mission, the Foundation saves copies of their minds, like backing up important files before a risky update. If one of them dies, the body is gone, but the data is not. In a secure lab, the Foundation grows a new body with SCP-based biology and advanced technology and loads the saved memories back in. On the field, Tau 5 works like a tight 4-person squad. Irantu leads the way and takes the heavy hits. Nanku hangs back with sensors and picks off distant threats. Chalub is the door kicker, pushing into tight spaces and handling close-up fights. Ro runs the tech, flying drones and juggling gadgets to keep the whole squad linked. This die, rebuild, return cycle lets Tau 5 handle missions that would erase normal teams and turn into sad email announcements. Even if they are completely wiped out, the Foundation rebuilds them. They change their plan, and they try again. In simple terms, MTF Tau 5 is the Foundation's clone-based disaster squad, 4 enhanced operators built to face impossible threats, even if it takes multiple deaths to finally hit mission complete. An MTF Alpha 1, often called the Red Right Hand, is the SCP Foundation's personal guard dog for the O5 Council. If the O5s are the hidden final bosses of the whole organization, Alpha 1 is the squad that never leaves their shadow. While other mobile task forces chase escaped anomalies or clean up disasters, Alpha 1's job is way more personal. They protect the O5 Council, remove threats to the Council, and run missions so secret most staff don't even know anything happened. If the Foundation had its own mix of Secret Service and Black Ops hit team, that would be Alpha 1. They usually stay at the edges of every important scene. A VIP meeting starts, and there are a few quiet people in suits with body armor under the jacket, eyes on every door and every hand. An O5 has to travel, and Alpha 1 turns the route into a moving fortress, secure cars, backup cars, and operatives already waiting at each stop. The moment something looks wrong near an O5, they move fast, push the VIP behind cover, and deal with the problem before most cameras even get a clear shot. They also appear when someone inside the Foundation gets a little too close to O5 secrets. A researcher digs too deep. A spy hides in the wrong place, or a hostile group tries to touch Council business. Alpha 1 quietly locks down the area, grabs the files, and walks the target out while everyone else is still staring at their screens. In simple terms, MTF Alpha 1 is the Foundation's last shield around the O5 Council, a serious, silent squad that keeps the real bosses alive and untouchable, no matter who or what tries to reach them.